5 years ago, former Philadelphia Eagles head coach Chip Kelly decided to make a handful of moves where the outcome completely took away most of the talent on the football team. While the fans at the time trusted everything he did, I knew that most of it was a mistake. I still have a playlist of all of these videos if anyone wants to check it out. But this video won't be about Chip Kelly the GM, because most of us already know how terrible of a general manager he was, and how he didn't know what he was doing. This video will be about why Chip Kelly the head coach failed on the Philadelphia Eagles. What did he do that was good?
Pass end zone, touchdown Eagles!
And what did he do that was bad?
But there was this blunder here.
Finally, is he in any way responsible for the Philadelphia Eagles winning Super Bowl 52? I will not go through every negative aspect about him because if I did, this video will go on for over an hour. So turn on your loudspeaker music and drink your favorite banana milkshake because you are about to be educated about why the Chip Kelly experience failed. When Chip Kelly entered the NFL as the Philadelphia Eagles head coach in 2013, people were unsure of what kind of offense he was going to bring to the team. The offense the team ended up getting was a no-huddle offense on every single play. Now this isn't an issue, especially when it's situational. Chip also wasn't the first person to incorporate the no-huddle offense onto a team. Future Hall of Famer Peyton Manning is also known for using it, often to keep defenders thinking and on their toes. Chip did this for the exact same reason, especially because at the college ranks, defenders are slower and quarterbacks don't have to make as many decisions. However, in the NFL, it is counterproductive to use the no-huddle offense after a sack, a loss of yards, a fumble not recovered by the defense, or an incomplete pass. However, Chip Kelly had no problem having the players no-huddle after any of these types of plays, which did a number on the Eagles' time of possession. Now, I'm not one of those people that thinks that the more time of possession you have equals more wins. However, unless you have an amazing defense, if you have very low time of possession, chances are your team won't be very good down the stretch. When you constantly have your defense on the field for 35 or more minutes in a game, it breaks your defenders down, and if you aren't able to execute on the plays, your offense won't spend a lot of time on the clock, and your defenders will have to pick up the pieces. You might as well punt on every first down on offense because the same outcome will take place in the end. And I hated the fact that Chip Kelly wouldn't even trust his players to complete a 4-minute offense. He would always have his players stand up and stare at the sideline to know when to snap the ball. Most of these guys are college graduates. They probably know what to do if the team is winning in the last 4 minutes of a game, and they wouldn't even snap the ball with less than 5 seconds on the clock. They should be allowed to huddle up and slow things down, but Chip only had one gear, which was go. However, there are certain times when that isn't what should be happening. Also, let's not forget how NBC would time the amount of time it took the Eagles to go from the end of a play to the next snap, which got really annoying. Yes, even more annoying than Chris Collinsworth's voice.
Here's a guy.
Another area where Chip Kelly failed miserably was because he plain and simply couldn't find a quarterback to man his offense, and he couldn't keep one for a long period of time. I remember his first season in Philadelphia, there was a quarterback battle between Nick Foles and Michael Vick, but he also had Dennis Dixon, Matt Barkley, and G.J. Kinney in the mix. Michael Vick was the clear favorite because he was fast and threw a bullet pass. After a preseason where the two quarterbacks played fairly evenly, Michael Vick won the starting job and would go on to win one game, despite the fact that everyone in the media believed that he was the best guy for the job. Instead, Nick Foles, who was a statue and threw for 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in 2013 and had a 14-4 record in his 2 seasons starting with the Eagles, actually was the best quarterback in 3 years. Despite this, Chip Kelly never gave any inkling that he supported his quarterback at all, and genuinely pined to rid the team of him. This all culminated in Chip Kelly trading Nick Foles and picks for Sam Bradford, whom was a massive downgrade to Foles because Sam Bradford had never won more than 7 games in a season and was just as, if not more, injury prone than Nick Foles was. Sam Bradford was also in the last year of his contract and would have probably won just as many games as Nick Foles would have, and Nick Foles would have been worth a quarter of the total money. In the end, the Eagles would fall to 7-9 with a disappointing season, and Chip Kelly would be fired from the Eagles after a Week 16 loss to the Redskins. To wrap everything up here, the final reason why Chip Kelly failed in Philadelphia as a coach was because he valued system over talent. To the core, he really fancied himself as a Bill Belichick kind of coach. He definitely had the spirit and demeanor of a Belichick, but he didn't back it up. He truly believed that he could bring anyone in to run his system despite the fact that he didn't have any talent at all. This is why Riley Cooper was a mainstay on the team and not Deshaun Jackson. Chip Kelly would run the same 6 plays over and over and over again. Eventually, opposing players would know the plays before they were run. And finally, he was so thin-skinned. If his system got called out by a player, then that player would be immediately cut or traded. I seem to remember once former All-Pro running back LaShawn McCoy complaining about how Chip Kelly should have called less plays out of the shotgun, which was a staple of the Chip Kelly offense. And then he was traded to the Bills for an inexperienced linebacker. Kerry Williams, a controversial loudmouth cornerback, once called Chip Kelly out because the defensive practices were too grueling at the end of the season and the defenders were getting overtired constantly, and he was released at the end of the season. He just was unable to take criticism and overvalued his expertise without trusting the people in the room. It was so bad that he had a successful offensive coordinator on his staff named Pat Shurmur, who was completely mismanaged. Instead of having a say in the offense, he was relegated to the press box where he would tell Chip Kelly when to challenge bad calls by the officials. This was a guy who was probably more qualified to be an NFL coach than Chip Kelly was, and he wasn't doing anything to help the team. To add insult to injury, when Chip Kelly was fired, Pat Shurmur was made interim head coach for a Week 17 game against the New York Giants, and the team scored over 30 points in a meaningless game. So in the end, Chip Kelly not only mismanaged his talent, but also the coaches on his staff while probably not even listening to them at the same time. Now, before discussing whether or not Chip Kelly should get any props for the team winning their first Lombardi, was there anything that he did that was good? I would be lying if I was to say no. He really did pave the way when it came to the zone read option offense, which basically became the RPO of today. In other words, either running the ball or play action passing depending on what the defense did. Nick Foles was so comfortable doing it that it helped him become Super Bowl MVP. Chip Kelly also added a lot when it came to sports science. You know, the kinds of things players needed to do in order to stay healthy and ready to play. A lot of these concepts are still used today in the NFL, and it was made popular by him specifically. Now, does Chip Kelly deserve any credit for the Eagles' Super Bowl win? The answer is a resounding no in my personal opinion. Chip did bring in all of these players who ended up being traded for players used in the run-up to the Super Bowl, but you don't get credit for messing something up, and if anything, Howie Roseman should get credit for turning what seemed to be self-sabotage into a Super Bowl. You don't get credit for cleaning up a mess if you were the person that made the mess. That isn't how it works. Chip is now the head coach at UCLA and is about to begin his 3rd season, and unfortunately for him, he hasn't done very well. As a matter of fact, he hasn't done well since he let LaShawn McCoy, Nick Foles, and Evan Mathis go. But they were better off for it, and so were the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. He also hasn't done well since his Odell Beckham boat picture moment, which was, oh, well, listen for yourself.
Let's bring in the new head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Chip Kelly, joining us. Why is the 49ers the right fit for you?
When you fall out of a boat, sometimes you land in crap, and then sometimes you land in San Francisco.
Chip Kelly's an evolver, and he's a smart guy, and I think he's going to go to San Francisco, and they're going to be a much more viable football franchise.
I've never negotiated a contract in my life. Never had a conversation with an agent in my life. I don't have anything. I have nothing to do with any contracts.